What's up, grinders? Welcome to 1 hour of NBA content right up until lock. It's crunch time. I'm your host, TJ Zwarich, joined by two of the sharpest minds in the biz. First up, Tim Buell, Tasteful Tides. How you doing today, Tim?
I'm doing well, TJ. A long day of college football. I had some college football, playing a little hockey as well. And now we're gonna do a four-game NBA slate with a lot of breaking news.
My daytime college football didn't go too well for me, but I got in one night team. I got in a one UFC team. Didn't play NHL, but I'm feeling excited for tomorrow's NFL slate, which we will all be on for in some capacity. Joining us as well, Will Priester, the Chief. How you doing, Will?
Doing good. As TJ mentioned, it's been an interesting slate. College football is going mostly okay for me today. I was just in the prop streets today. I didn't do any CFB, DFS, and right now I'm rushing against the clock to edit my Wemby lineups. TJ took a stance. I took a stance. Today he's right. Wemby's out. So I've got to make some changes. So, guys, I'm going to be editing my mass multi-entry build while we're live today. I don't typically do that. I typically, try to not play, a mass multi-entry build when I have a show because I want to focus. But it was only 4 games, so I feel like I'm going to be comfortable enough to focus. It's not 10 to 12. So. There you have it. So if I end up, I'm not going to miss anything. But if for some reason, TJ, it looks like I'm frozen on screen, it's probably because I'm clicking away while we're live. But all is well. I can assure you, all is well. I'm good. I'm just editing some lineups as I'm doing right now, and going to go into some of our RG tools, make some adjustments, hit a few buttons, and spit this thing back out, and hope that I don't have too many more adjustments that I need to make.
I don't want to put this into the air, but I'm going to anyways. With Wemby being out, they just called Luka Doncic a game time decision about 17 minutes ago. What are the odds that they just rule Luka Doncic out for this one as well?
I don't think that's the worst.
He better not be out.
That'll be annoying. That'll be a tough rebuild because if Wemby's in, Wemby's out. It's like we know we wanted to do this. We've been prepping for the option of what could happen all day. But the Luka one, I actually hadn't considered that till now. I know I'll want to play Kyrie, but how will that make how will that value shake up with guys like Grimes, guys like Hardy? That'll be very interesting if something like that happens. Currently, Luka's a game time decision. If you missed it, Victor Wembanyama, it has been ruled out. We don't have starting lineups for any of these teams yet. Drew Holiday has also been ruled out, so Peyton Pritchard or Sam Hauser will step into the starting lineup for those guys, the Celtics. It's only 4 games, but there's a lot of news. There's a lot of stuff we're still we've gotten already with Sabonis and who else was ruled out for Sacramento in addition to Sabonis?
DeMar DeRozan.
DeRozan, right. Sabonis and DeRozan both being ruled out. So lots of news already. Still some we're waiting on, and we got you covered for the next hour leading up. And in addition to us having you covered,
are you about to get into your?
I was about to do an ad read, but you hit it first.
No. Get the ad read out of it because this is slate related. Ad read.
So if you want access to some of the most advanced NBA data in the market, check out shot quality projections for Lineup HQ, RotoGrinders.com/shot quality. You can get 1 month of access for $40 or yearly for $200. Just want to give it a test run. Try it with a 3-day pass for $9.99. And DFS is all about value. We got a lot of it tonight. This is the busiest time in the sports calendar, which means it's the perfect time to sign up for RotoGrinder Combo. For limited time, get your first month of combo access for just $79.99. That's just $5 more than NBA Premium. Don't pass up this great offer. What do you got, Chief?
Well, I was just saying, for this to be a 4-game slate, it's a ton of news and a lot of people out. And now you've got this Luka situation looming over our heads. Like, man, very interesting for a 4-gamer. Let me just say that.
For my own selfish reasons, I wish we got this Wemby news after lock, because I already have I had Zach Collins locked into my 20 entry max, and I have about 70% in my 150 build. But for my friend Chief, I'm happy it happened before lock, so that you have ample time to adjust the lineups and get stuff in. But Tim, so much news on this slate. 4 games. What's your overview?
Well, the overview is going to be about all this potential news, but we've pretty much got it before the show started. So I mean, really, the big one now is Luka, waiting on Luka news. The other thing is, I mean, I got to talk about this real quick. I mean, the Celtics are 17-point favorites, and they'd lost outright to the Hawks on Tuesday, I believe it was, when they were like 15-point favorites. So I don't think they're going to take this game lightly at all. I think they're pretty mad about that loss. And, I think there's going to be, I think it's going to be a bloodbath for Boston. So it's definitely, I'm kind of excited to watch that game. I guess I'm kind of being a little bit of a homer, but, it's definitely an exciting game. And Peyton Pritchard, we have him projected to play 33 minutes now without Holiday. So I was just going to lock up Pritchard in single entry and in cash games and kind of wait for the rest, but we've pretty much got the rest now. So I think you could include other guys in there as well. But right now I do have Pritchard locked in for cash games and single entry.
Derek Ringer in chat said he started The Penguin on HBO last night, and holy smokes, is it good? I'm telling you guys, this show is incredible. You got to check it out.
I've been watching Silo. Do you watch that? Do you watch that, TJ?
But another one of my co-owners of Agents of Fandom, he was been writing the reviews for it for our website, and he is a very big fan.
Yeah, it's a really good show.
We did get news that Zach Collins will be starting for Victor Wembanyama today. You mentioned the Peyton Pritchard lock, Tim. I have him in 150 of 150. I have him in all of my 20 entry max builds. I locked in 3 players for 150, and I locked in 4 players for 20 entry max. So I got De'Aaron Fox, Peyton Pritchard, John Collins, and Zach Collins in every single 20 entry max build today. Let's start getting into it. I mean, and for what it's worth, the Pritchard thing, even if he doesn't start, I'm still totally comfortable with the lock button on him today. I think that would maybe he loses a couple minutes, but he would get some extra usage coming off the bench. So it does not bother me whatsoever playing him, even if he's coming off of the bench. We got more time leading up in a crunch time than we usually do. So instead of just going right into position by position, what we will do is we'll go game by game here and go kind of Grinders Live style. And then after that, we will highlight kind of who are the cash game locks, must-haves. You need to have a little bit of tournament strategy, maybe look at SimLabs if there's time. And then after that, we will go into some QQs. I'll go to the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat first. After that, I will go to the YouTube chat. Shout out to those watching us on YouTube. Smash the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Help us battle that YouTube algorithm. We want to be showing up. We want to keep these shows free. We want to give you lots of content. And in order to do so, we need you smashing that like button. So make sure you do that. And let's dive into it. First game of the night. Tim, you already touched on it. We got the Raptors at the Celtics. Big total for the Celtics, 123 points, highest implied team total on the board. And they are huge favorites against the Raptors. My Raptors have just been atrocious this year. These guys do not look good. And I'm personally playing 0 Raptors tonight. I think I might have hand build switched a couple teams to get a Grady Dick in one or something like that, just because I accidentally duplicated a couple lineups. But I'm planning on playing 0 Raptors whatsoever tonight. Tim, how about you?
I could see getting to a little bit of Jakob Poeltl at 7,600, just because it's got a decent ownership play. But you're right, though. The Raptors are not a team that I'd be actively seeking out on this slate. This is going to be a really, really brutal matchup for them on the road. I mean, the Celtics are a really tough matchup. So there's really nobody off the bench either for Toronto. I'm seeing Mitchell showing up with a little bit of ownership. I wonder if that's going to come down. I wouldn't play Mitchell at 5.5. I think there's far better plays with all the value that's opened up now. So really, I'm not really interested in any Toronto players.
Will, how about you? You're playing 150 tonight. You getting any Raptors?
No. Originally, I thought I was going to have Agbaji, but it's too much value for me to be playing these guys. So the answer is no. I'm with Tim here. What a quick response for a 4-game slate. We're already halfway through the first game, and we're about to be 25% through the whole slate. Can you believe it?
Well, there's a little bit still. This is the least exciting game, so it's like we're at least getting this out of the way first. But what about the Boston side? Because there's a little bit more to like over here on Boston, especially with Drew Holiday out.
I'm basically playing a ton of Pritchard, a fair amount of Derek White, a fair amount of Jaylen Brown, a fair amount of Jason Tatum, no Al Horford, and way too much Sam Hauser that I'm comfortable with. But that was in my previous build. It's probably going to come down now that I have some extra options, because originally I had Wemby. I was playing Wemby as in. So I was pretty much fading all of the Spurs outside of a little bit of Chris Paul and Wemby. And now I've added a fair amount of them back because Wemby's out. So when I rerun my build, TJ, I'm probably going to have way less Hauser than I thought I was going to have, which is going to be great because I didn't want as much as I had. But I felt so comfortable with the rest of the build, I was going to leave it. But now that I have those other options, I think I will be good. And in fact, I'm going to hit that button right now. Let's see what it spits out. Not going to really talk about the whole build, but just kind of want to see where I'm at now. But in terms of Boston, I'm playing all the main guys mostly, except for Al Horford. I'm not playing any Queta either. Like, I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's too much other value for me to be playing around with some of those guys.
If it makes you feel any better, Chief, I'm also rebuilding my lineups. I'm not sticking with what I had because even though I had an absolute ton of Zach Collins, I actually want to get more of the other Spurs. So I'm still rebuilding my lineups, even though I had it all in. Tim, how about you? Who do you like for Boston tonight?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I already touched on Pritchard. He's definitely going to be in my cash game and in my single entry team. Really wouldn't mind getting Jason Tatum also. Like I said, like I think that the Celtics cover this spread and just absolutely crush this Toronto team. So I think one of Tatum or Brown really pops off here. My guess is it will be Tatum. 10-1. Like that seems almost a little bit cheap in this matchup, to be honest. It's 123 point team total. I really like Tatum tonight. So I really wouldn't mind doing Pritchard and Tatum. Those would be my two favorite. And then for GPPs, any of the starting five are in play, except for maybe Al Horford. Not a huge fan. Don't want to pay 4.8 for him, especially when we have John Collins, Zach Collins, who are going to be the exact same or right around the exact same price, who's in a way better spot.
All right, well, let's go over to the next game. This one's got a bit of a tighter spread, but a lot of players out in this one as well. The New Orleans Pelicans have been without a lot of their players for a while now, but the Lakers have ruled out Rui Hachimura and Cam Reddish for this one, opening up some Dalton Connect value. D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves look a little bit better, especially Russell. He's popping on FanDuel now. And then LeBron James and Anthony Davis always can play them. Davis especially picking up some steam. Tim, I'll keep it with you. Who do you like on the Lakers?
Yeah, so definitely, well, it's tough. I think we only have Connect projected for, I think, 25, 26 minutes. So I think that there might be some better values that we can get to, but I wouldn't hate getting to Connect if I was building to 150. But not getting to him in single entry. If I had to pick between LeBron and AD, it's definitely going to be AD for me. I think LeBron is, I mean, he's not too expensive, but I think he's priced correctly at 10.4. Anthony Davis to me seems like the far better play at 10.6. really, I think Russell I would play in maybe in a couple shares in like a 20 max, maybe get to like 5% in a 150 setting. Also, don't mind Russell. I don't think I want to pay 7-3 for Reeves. I think I'm out on that. And then if Max Christie starts, I'm really not that interested. I'd rather get to some of these bench guys like Russell.
Yeah, I am on the same page there. How about you, Will? Who do you like on the Lakers?
So let me just say, from a real life perspective, like LeBron James is just getting it done, right? Like, I mean, he's putting up massive numbers right now. Peripherals, he's scoring enough. I mean, I think he's gone over double-digit assists and rebounds in back-to-back games. Yeah, 4 games now. He's 4 games in a row.
Triple-double, 4 games in a row, career high for him.
Double.
He's one away from tying the Lakers record.
Like this, I mean, so I think at this point, I know LeBron's 10-4, 80's 10-6. Like, LeBron's massively in play if he's going to continue to play this way. So I mean, I think LeBron's a big play. I do like D'Angelo Russell at 57 and then AD, but I'm not rushing to play anyone else. It's LeBron and AD, and that's mostly it.
Yeah, same page for me. LeBron and AD, and then mixing in a little bit of D'Angelo Russell. I have no Reeves in my 20 entry max, but I do have a little bit of him in 150. What about this Pelicans side where Zion's out, McCollum's out, half this damn team is out? Brandon Ingram is popping, especially on FanDuel at 8,200. At 8,200 on FanDuel, he's one of the very best plays on the slate. He's almost $1,000 more on DraftKings. Brandon Boston looks pretty good. Also on FanDuel, looks better where he's cheaper. Same with Jalen Noel, looks better on FanDuel where he's cheaper. Chief, keeping it with you, who do you like on this New Orleans side of things?
I'm fine with Ingram, fine with Boston, fine with Green. I'm just kind of fine. Like, clearly Brandon Ingram is the guy, so we don't want to overlook him. Like, with all these guys out, like, he's the guy that we expect to be the best player. But I'm just fine with everyone else. I do have sprinkles of Noel. I've heard some buzz about Jamal Cain. I'm not thrilled about it, but I've got sprinkles of Boston, sprinkles of Green, but I've got a whole lot of Ingram. But that's about it. I am so sorry. Excuse me. But it's mainly Ingram and some Boston for me from the Pelicans.
Tim, how about you? Who do you like on the Pelicans?
Yeah, I would definitely get to Ingram in cash games and GPPs. He's like a core play for me. I played him yesterday in single entry. He was 3%. He was a really good play. He's going to be a lot chalkier tonight, but still, I have no issue getting to him. I kind of like that he's point guard, shooting guard, and he's, what is he now? He's 91. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a core play. I'm fine with getting to a little bit of Brandon Boston. Other than that, though, I mean, really, I think with all this Spurs value that has opened up, I really don't have any interest in the auxiliary pieces of the Pelicans.
Luka
Can I ask you guys something?
In, so thank goodness we don't got to change anything. Luka Doncic and Najee Marshall both in.
Okay, can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
How much do you guys feel like this is a question in terms of not necessarily tournament or cash? And I know that sounds weird. This is more about like just lineup building in general. Somebody opens up the lineups page, they go to lineup HQ, they go to SimLabs, they see this guy's out, that guy's out. How much do you guys think the field is just building, like, completely off of the news, right? Like, no extra thinking, no imagination, because it feels like lineups are just starting to build themselves based on the news. So how are you guys processing that tonight? Now, and keep in mind, I'm running 150, so I've kind of covered a few extra bases. But for like a 3 entry max, a single entry max, probably more for Tim. I know, Tim, that's your wheelhouse. How are you processing a Peyton Pritchard who's going to get ownership, a Brandon Ingram who's going to get ownership. Like, where are you getting different, if any, like in single entry, 3-entry matches? I think that's a big deal tonight for a 4-game slate.
I mean, that's the name of the game in single entry, right? Because you're kind of like seeing what the chalk is and then like building out from there, like taking like strong pivots against certain players. I can tell you, because ownership hasn't updated yet for the Spurs, I imagine Zach Collins is going to be like maybe the chalkiest player on the entire slate. I can tell you it's probably not going to be him. Like, I'm probably going to be playing him. But I'd like to see like where the other ownership falls on some of the bench pieces on San Antonio. I could very well end up like fading them if they're going to be super chalky. There's always stands to be had when you're playing single entry, and that's kind of the name of the game, because we don't get to play 20 different lineups where we can make all the 2v2s or 3v3s that we want. We have to make a decision. I may end up fading some of this Kings chalk that we haven't discussed yet. That might be where I go. But I mean, I always wait till the last second to see what Sims say and to see what ownership says, because that's really the most important parts. Like, we know who's going to project well. Like, if you're an experienced enough player, you know who's going to project well points per dollar, but you really got to lean on the Sims and ownership to make your decisions for you.
All right. Well, let's go over to the next game. We have the Spurs. We have Dallas. Ownership has updated on FanDuel. So Zach Collins currently projecting for 34% ownership there. That's probably still going to go up more as they continuously update. He's only $4,100 on FanDuel. So that's going to be going up. The Spurs, while they kind of looked before like the least interesting team on the slate, or one of the least interesting teams on the slate, now they're kind of looking like the most interesting team on the slate. Will, I'll pitch it to you first for this one. Since it's fresh in your mind, you've just kind of gone through this, how many Spurs you want to get. How are you handling the San Antonio Spurs?
So I think on both sides. So and let me just kind of tell people where I was. And I think this will help them kind of get an idea where my mind was. So I was playing Wemby in. So I had, when I say enough, I was pretty much matching the field with Wemby, and then I was slightly over the field on Chris Paul. I was planning to fade Keldon Johnson, fade Champagne. I was literally planning to fade most of the Spurs offense in lieu of getting in other pieces. Now that he's out, I've had to include those guys back in. And so I think for me, my top two in terms of Spurs value are Keldon Johnson and Zach Collins. Zach Collins is going to be getting the most ownership, but I do think a guy like Champagne is squarely back in play. I'm not thrilled about Harrison Barnes shares. I hate it, but man, he's 500 on DraftKings. If you're running 150, maybe you get a few shares. But for me, it's definitely Keldon Johnson and Zach Collins at the top of my list, and then Chris Paul. I'm still fine with Chris Paul. We've seen Chris Paul have some 40-plus point games this season, and maybe he takes a few more shots tonight. So that's where I am with the Spurs. Hopefully they can keep up, and this game can, give us the production we need.
It's a very small sample, but he does get a 6.5% usage increase with no Wemby on the court. Very small sample, but I wouldn't be shocked if that's about what he gets tonight. So
who is that?
Chris Paul.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How crazy would it be to try Trey Jones at 3,700?
In large field, I don't think it's that crazy.
Yeah.
How much is he on FanDuel? Like, he's $1,000 cheaper on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. You definitely don't play him on DraftKings. On FanDuel, 3,700. I think it's his first game of since just under a month. I doubt he's going to play very much, but dang, that's pretty cheap. Probably not on this slate, just because there's so stupid much value. But if we were a little more if value was a little tougher to come by, I think that would be somewhat interesting. How about on the Dallas side of things? Or Tim, did you give your San Antonio thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely like, I mean, if you're playing cash games, you're 100% playing Zach Collins at 4,900. Like, that's not even a question. Yeah, and I'm probably going to be playing him in a single entry as well. I'm interested to see. I think we did get ownership updated on DK as well. So it's definitely, yeah. I mean, it's maybe we haven't.
I don't think it did. It still says 1% for me for Zach Collins.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I'm interested to see where Keldon Johnson comes in ownership wise. Like if he's going to be chalky, he might be a guy that I'd elect not to play in single entry. If he's not going to be that chalky, might be a guy I decide to play in single entry. So that's definitely a decision. I actually don't even mind, set aside what I said about the usage thing, but I don't even mind playing Chris Paul actually at 6,300 just because I think he's not going to get overwhelmingly chalky. So I don't mind playing a little bit of Chris Paul as well. And I really like Julian Champagny today as well. So I think he's somebody that I'm going to look pretty hard in cash games and single entry.
All right. Take me to the Dallas side of things.
Yeah, well, we gotta wait. Did we get any news about Luka yet? Probably
Luka
not.
is in. Yeah, we got
Luka's in. Okay. So I mean, it has become increasingly easy to play Luka. It's also become a much better matchup for Luka as well. I still think this is probably going to be the guy that I'm most afraid of not having, right? Like only building one team. It's probably going to be Luka that I'm going to be not playing because I think I'd rather either build more balanced or go stars and scrubs, but with Anthony Davis and Brandon Ingram or something like that, or Jason Tatum. So I think Luka's probably going to be that guy that I make a stand on and say, no, I'm not going to play him, even though it's terrifying. That could definitely, I mean, if people want to play Luka, I'm certainly not saying he's a bad play, but he's probably going to be the big name that I fade tonight.
Well, how about you? How much Luka you get into? Who else do you like on Dallas?
In terms of the build that I have right now, and give me a second because I am trying to. So in terms of Luka right now, I'm slightly above the field by about 3% on Luka on DraftKings. I am playing mostly on DraftKings. I'm playing one lineup on FanDuel tonight, so that I'm above the field slightly on DraftKings. I'm fine with Klay Thompson. I'm not playing any Kyrie, so I'm going full fade on Kyrie tonight in hopes that he just has one of those normal games, 38, 39, no more than 40 fantasy points, and everybody just kind of does their job. So that's where I am. I'm not playing a whole lot of guys from Dallas in the run back, but Luka definitely, he's, as Tim said, he's the one guy I'm afraid of not playing that I feel like could drop 80. So I'm playing him and foregoing Kyrie, but playing Klay Thompson because he's cheaper. And then sprinkles of Lively and Gafford, but just sprinkles. I basically got them split at about 10 to 12% each in my build, just in case one of them goes for 35 or something randomly.
All right, final game of the slate. Then we'll go position by position. We have Utah at Sacramento. This is probably the most fun one to stack up for DFS purposes. I'm only playing on DraftKings tonight as well. For Utah, I'm only getting to 4 players, but I'm getting to a decent amount. I have John Collins in 100% of my lineups. He's my favorite play on the slate. I like Jordan Clarkson. I like Colin Sexton, and I'm getting to a little bit of Filipowski as well. Tim, going to you for Utah first. Who do you like on the Jazz?
Yeah, I mean, this was going to be the chalk game, most attractive game of the slate. It still is going to be an amazing game, but now we at least have some other pivots with the Spurs stuff and the Celtics stuff. So yeah, I mean, obviously fantastic spot for John Collins. He's a guy I want to see how he sims. I don't know if we've got sims updated yet. I want to see how John Collins sims, just because, like, I feel like, yeah, he's a fantastic play, but he might be like over owned. I have a feeling he might come in over owned, but definitely a fine play for cash games. On the other side, like we have De'Aaron Fox, who is another one of these core play guys. So I mean, absolutely fantastic. He should play like upper 30s minutes. He's only 8,600 on DK. We currently have him as the highest owned player on the entire slate. I think we did get ownership updated for DK. We have Zach Collins at 21. I think Zach Collins will end up being higher than that. But yeah, Fox is going to be the chalkiest play on the slate. He's another guy I'm interested to see how he sims as well, because he might be a little bit over-owned. I'm not sure. But yeah, definitely Fox, definitely Collins in your cash games. Definitely.
What is your guess for De'Aaron Fox's optimal rate on DraftKings?
Right around like 50?
He's currently, with the newest update, the highest leverage play on DraftKings with a 68% optimal rate and 49% ownership.
All right.
That seems kind of crazy, but we'll go through SimLabs for position by position so we can narrow down who are the necessary cash game plays for this one. Will, how about you? Who do you like on Utah?
I'm really in love with Jordan Clarkson, and I just feel like he's not getting a ton of ownership. So Jordan Clarkson, I think, is one of the guys that I'm going to be well over the field on, that the field just isn't quite getting to as much. So he's kind of my big stand in this game. Full disclosure, I do have John Collins with the lock button, Tim. So it doesn't matter if the Sim says 50, 60, 70. I'm going to be over the field on him, and I'm just going to roll with it in this type of game. So yeah, there we have it. I feel like people are afraid of Lauri Markkanen. I think I'm right with the field on Lauri, so I won't miss out. But if he really goes nuts, I don't know if I'll win. I'll have to be praying that I have the right combination out of maybe 15, 16 lineups he's in, something like that. But like I said, I think my big stand is a whole lot of Jordan Clarkson, a whole lot of John Collins with the lock button, and then just I don't have any Keontae George. I'm actually hitting the fade on him. Have some Sexton, have some Markkanen, have some Filipowski, obviously, but that's about it. But I want to make it clear, my main stand, even though I've got Collins with the lock button, I think he's going to be high on. I could be wrong, Tim, but I think he comes in pretty high on. My big stand is I've got way more Jordan Clarkson than anybody's probably comfortable with, and I'll give you that specific.
Who do you think is going to be? Who do you think is going to be high on, Chief? Sorry to interrupt you.
John Collins. I think he's going to be way higher on than what we have.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah,
we got some starting lineup news. Peyton Pritchard not in the starting lineup, nor is Sam Hauser. It's Neemias Queta in there for the Celtics, starting at center. So they bumped down Al Horford. I do think that Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser, still very, very viable. I like both of them in this spot. Hauser a little bit less, but Pritchard, he's still lock button play for me. I don't care that he's coming off the bench. I think that just means more usage. Also, we got the Lakers starting lineup. Austin Reeves starting at the 1. Max Christie, Dalton Knecht, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. So D'Angelo Russell still coming off the bench, limits his minute ceiling a little bit, but again, it raises his usage ceiling a lot as well. So I'm not overly interested in Neemias Queta. If there's one player who's not terrible defensively for the Raptors, it's Jakob Poeltl. Plus, I'm not sure how big of a ceiling there is on Queta today. So I currently have 0%. I didn't think he would be starting, but even with him starting, I'm not going to be running to rebuild and get him into a bunch of my lineups here. I'm going to be kind of just leaving that one. Let's pivot to Sacramento here. Chief, I'm hitting the lock button on De'Aaron Fox today, just like I did John Collins on the other side. On FanDuel, he's projecting for like 60+% ownership. On DraftKings, it's lower, but he's still projecting for like 60+% optimal rate. So what are you doing with De'Aaron Fox today? I got 100.
I don't have 100% De'Aaron Fox, but I am over the field. I actually only have one lock button today, which is interesting. I actually, and to be quite honest, TJ, this is my first lock button of the season, right? Like I actually haven't locked anyone yet this season. I'm usually a guy that locks 3 or 4 guys, but this is my first lock button of the season. So, and that lock is John Collins, but De'Aaron Fox, I'm just well above the field. The field looks like it says it's going to be around 50. I'm going to be in the 60s roughly. And I'm perfectly fine with that. If he goes off, then I should have enough shares to keep pace. But I've got more than enough Keegan Murray. I've got more than enough Trey Lyles. I'm well over the field on Trey Lyles. I am taking the Alex Len fade. So that might be something that people were interested in. I've got a full fade on Alex Len. If he gets 30 fantasy points tonight, guys, hey, I throw up my hands and I lose. But Alex Len has burned me enough over the years. I had one of the guys in the prop shop, obviously, Mr. Papa Giorgio mentioned. He said, "Chief, are you really considering playing Alex Len tonight?" He said, "Please." He said, "There are better things to do than play Alex Len," and he's absolutely right. So I am taking the fade, but I've got a fair amount of Sacramento Kings. I don't want to back off of that stance, off that stance, because the Spurs have so much value too. Because I do think the Sacramento value is better because of the game environment. If that makes any sense.
I wonder what people are going to do with Trey Lyles too, just because he's going to be like a super, super chalky value. Yeah. And now we have other value opening up. So like I'm still getting to a ton of him when I'm running optimals in Line of HQ. But I mean, it's still a great price. He's still power forward center eligible. I wonder if people are still going to go to him or not.
Yeah, I'm still getting about 50% of Trey Lyles.
You are? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That game is so good.
In my 150 sets right now, I have 100% Pritchard, 100% John Collins, 100% De'Aaron Fox, 60% Zach Collins, 50% Trey Lyles, 40% Herder, 30% Ellis, 30% Keegan Murray, 25 Keldon and Champagny, 20 for Ingram, LeBron, Luka, and Anthony Davis. That's where my ownership's stacking out right now.
Yep. It makes sense.
Tim, any final thoughts with Sacramento, or shall we go position by position?
No, I think we're good to go position by position.
All right, let's do it. We will start on FanDuel as we usually do. We'll still want to save lots of time for some QQs here, but we'll do the typical cash tournament kind of side of things here. Tim, feel free to be the one who focuses on cash, and Will, feel free to, and single entry, and then Will, feel free to focus on a larger field stuff. We have De'Aaron Fox with an 82% optimal rate on FanDuel. Tim, sorry, you first. What do you like for cash on FanDuel?
Oh, you're definitely playing Fox and cash at 8,700. There's no doubt about it. And then for your second point guard spot, I think there's different ways you can go about it. You can obviously go to Peyton Pritchard. He only lost 3 minutes from his projection now. He's at 30 minutes, so really not that bad. I think you could play Castle at 5K. He should be playing minutes in the low 30s, so I think that's fine. Chris Paul at 62, I think he's completely fine as well. So I think there's definitely quite a few options in that mid range, and then I think if you have the money, I think Derek White and Kyrie are interesting as well.
All right, Will, how about you? Who do you like on FanDuel? Keon Ellis is very cheap over there.
Yeah, I definitely think he's in play. I mean, he's 4,100. Do you like him better than Peyton Pritchard? I think that's your question, because I don't feel comfortable personally foregoing De'Aaron Fox tonight on FanDuel, because I do think, I feel like he could reasonably get to 50 fantasy points with upside for 60. Like I don't know if he goes for 70 tonight, right? But like I think 50 is a reasonable number given the situation with upside for 60. And then I mean if he goes anywhere over that, then I mean, hey, we're there. I think the question is, do you think Keon Ellis outscores Jordan Noel? Probably outscores Noel. All right. Does he outscore Davion Mitchell? Maybe matches Davion Mitchell if Davion Mitchell has a 25-point game. All right. Does he outscore Castle? Possibly. Right? He could, but maybe they're a little bit closer together. Okay. Does he outscore D'Angelo Russell? I don't know. Maybe. You know, and then you're getting up to, okay, well, does he outscore Peyton Pritchard? I don't think he outscores these guys. So that's where I'm at with Keon Ellis in terms of just rostering him in general on FanDuel. I mean, how many of these 5 and 4K guys is he really going to outscore tonight? He's never been a guy that we've seen pop for 30 plus fantasy points. He's always low 20s, no matter the situation. So I'm not playing him on FanDuel in my single entry bill. I am playing him on DraftKings where I can spread out my my activity a bit.
All right. Let's go over to the shooting guard position. Tim, what are we doing in cash? A lot of these names are very similar.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of the same names. Definitely. I think you can get to guys like Champagny at 4,600. He would be in addition. Castle again. Herder's fine at 5,100. I think I would prefer getting to Derek White over Jaylen Brown, but obviously both are completely fine. I think I don't know if you could play Clarkson in cash games. Probably not. I'd probably leave Clarkson for GPPs. So it'd really be Champagny for me, Castle, White, and I think that would probably be it in terms of my shooting guard selection for cash games.
All right, Will, how about you? Who are you looking to get overweight on in tournaments over on FanDuel?
So listen, Tim, I want to call something out that you said because I was making an executive decision in my FanDuel build. So in single entry, I'm going to play the chalk, but I'm going to fade Brandon Ingram in single entry on FanDuel and play LeBron. You get what I'm saying? As a result, I'm going to end up with Derek White, which I thought was fantastic. So that was like my executive decision. Because remember, Tim, sometimes it's not about, and I know you know this, so this isn't necessarily for Tim. This is for everybody listening. Sometimes it's not about
taking Tim to school.
No. This is it's not about making like huge pivots. It could just be one. Like I've got a whole lot of chalk in this lineup. Don't worry. But just taking LeBron instead of Brandon Ingram is going to take this thing to a whole new level because this LeBron Derek White combo is a lot different than me playing something else that I had in there. So I'm saying that to say I really like Derek White. Derek White is always a guy that we typically see play pretty well when one of the starters has been out. Like this is a guy that can go get you 40 fantasy points. So I do really like him. I'm a massive Kevin Herter guy tonight, so I really like him also. What's it? Klay Thompson at 5K, I'm fine with. Castle at 5K, I'm fine with. Like Agbaji a lot more on FanDuel, where he's 4,900 versus 5,800. And of course, Champagne. And I'm not completely saying don't take Keon Ellis, but at 4,100, I'm fine with it.
See, the whole Keon Ellis thing, like, they're definitely getting to a lot of him in optimals, but like, I don't think he's necessary, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, if people want to go that way, that's fine. Go for it. But I don't think you need Keon Ellis tonight.
Yeah, you guys have. I don't feel like rerunning everything, but I'm just hand taking him out right now of all of my 20 entry max builds. I'm not taking him out of any. Not taking him out of any of the 150 max stuff just because I don't want to have to go back and change it. But I'm taking him out of the 20 entry max stuff, which is a little bit higher dollar, and I'm going with a lot more Dalton Connect in his stead, I think. All right, let's go over to small forward position on FanDuel. Brandon Ingram got a 60% optimal rate nearly. Tim, I'm assuming we're playing Ingram. Who else are we playing in cash?
Yeah, you're 100% playing Ingram in cash games. I don't think it's even close. No decision at all whatsoever with that one. And then probably Keegan Murray at 6,400. I like quite a bit. I just want to build into that game as much as I can. If you need the savings, you can go back to Champagne at 4,600. I think you could play Keldon in cash at 5.5 as well. So I think those would be. I don't want Connect or Hauser. So there's really nobody below Champagne that I would play in cash games on FanDuel at small forward. So really, Ingram's the obvious play, then Murray, and then Champagne.
All right, Will. How about you? Who you liking at small forward?
Yeah, man. Love Murray. Love Keldon Johnson. Like obviously, all those guys are in play. And I'm going. Give me a second. I'm pulling up my positions here. Like I do have some Hauser for what it's worth. I do have some Klay Thompson. I have Jaylen Brown, have Tatum, have Lauri Markkanen. Like that's where I'm at small forward. Like all those guys, and on FanDuel, like I said, I'm taking the stand that I want to fade Ingram, and I'm going to get to LeBron and pair that with Keldon, and that's going to keep me different enough to where maybe I get to the top of the tournament stuff in the end. But on DraftKings, I'm playing all those guys.
All right, power forward, Tim. Who we playing in cash? What do you like better, Brandon Ingram at small forward or power forward?
Probably small forward because, I guess Tatum's small forward, power forward also, but you do have Anthony Davis who's power forward. You do have John Collins who's power forward. So yeah, probably small forward. I would put him in. And then so John Collins, you're definitely playing in cash games, 6,800. He's the clear and obvious choice there. And then you could go, play Zach Collins, obviously at power forward or at center. I don't think it really matters, but either way, you have to play him in cash games. I think Trey Lyles is going to be a really, really interesting GP pivot, but he's no longer cash game viable, in my opinion, because I think you should be paying up for either, Anthony Davis at center. So you're definitely getting to Zach Collins at either power forward or center, John Collins at power forward. And then the only other one I'd mentioned, or I also mentioned at small forward, is Keegan Murray.
All right, Will, how about you? Who do you like at power forward?
Look, man. Let me ask. Well, I know you're asking me. Let me say this. I do think like John Collins is also the lock button here on FanDuel. Like he's 6,800. Keegan Murray to me is borderline lock button at 6,400. So those are like my two favorites. Obviously, I can get the Keldon there also. I personally don't have Trey Lyles in my single entry bill, but you can also get John Collins at power forward, which he's probably less likely to be there tonight. I think more people are more likely to play him at center than power forward. And so I think you can actually get, hear me out here, his ownership's going to be high, but a touch of leverage by getting Collins at power forward and possibly playing AD at center. I don't think you'll see that a ton tonight on FanDuel. I think people are building from the bottom up with Collins. And so in tournaments, I'm encouraged to play him at power forward and maybe spend up at AD at center. I'm not doing that in my single entry build, so I'm making it clear. I'm not doing that in my single entry build, but I do think that sort of thinking could pay off on a 4-game slate tonight.
FanDuel specifically, if you're playing Jason Tatum, I don't think it's crazy to take a shot on RJ Barrett and kind of just hope that game stays somewhat close because he's only 7,500 there versus DraftKings where he is far more expensive. Let's pick up the pace a little bit. We want to save time for some QQs. Center position, we know we like Anthony Davis, John Collins, Zach Collins, and Trey Lyles. In cash, you're playing 3 of those 4, right? Right, Tim?
Yes, definitely.
And then, Will, anybody out of the big 4 that you're looking to get to on FanDuel?
If I had to choose, it's AD for me. Like, if I was running, like, deeper, like, tournament stuff, AD would kind of be my guy.
All right. Well, as we switch over to DraftKings here, got a couple of questions in the RotoGrinders Discord. Favorite game stack of the night, Tim?
It's got to have to be the Jazz Kings game.
Will, same for you?
Yep.
All right. And then next one, we got the DK Cash Core. Absolutely. That is what we are doing right now. DK Cash Core, let's go through it nice and quick here, Tim. And like tournaments, it's a lot of the same stuff. So let's just go through cash, and then we'll save the rest of the time for the rest of the QQs that come in here. So point guard, we got De'Aaron Fox. Anybody else here a cash priority, Tim?
Ingram
as well. You looking to play and then I guess Peyton Pritchard is somebody I'd want to make sure I get at 4,900, even with his kind of projection bump down coming off the bench. Are you playing him in cash?
I am playing him in cash, but I have removed him from my single entry team.
Straight up, who do you like better as we transition to shooting guard, Julian Champagnie or Peyton Pritchard?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think it's still Pritchard.
And then close. Stephon Castle is in that conversation as well.
So let's
actually both of you prioritize those. Let's go.
Yes,
Penny, Pritchard, and Castle.
Those 3 right there are giving me a ton of trouble. I think it's Pritchard 1, Castle 2, Champagnie 3, but it's super close. That's like a really tough group right there.
Will?
It's Peyton Pritchard for me, because I'm keeping my ownership because I think everybody's hopping off because he's not starting, and I don't think he needs to start to drop 40. So Pritchard for me, probably Castle 2, Champagne 3.
All right. Then Kevin Huerter kind of above all of them for cash, Tim?
I mean, if you have the money, he's about what, like $600, $700 more.
Yeah. I guess on that note for cash, who do you like better as we pivot to small forward, Huerter or Keldon Johnson?
If we're going to small forward, I would definitely, well, maybe not definitely, but I would prefer Keldon.
Keldon over Huerter. Will, how about you? Keldon or Huerter straight up?
Yeah, Keldon for sure.
Champagnie does have that small forward eligibility, so he is cash viable as well. Power forward position, Trey Lyles, cash game lock. John Collins for me would be a necessity as well. How about you, Tim?
Yeah, definitely John Collins. Trey Lyles is completely fine as well. Definitely. And then actually don't really mind Tatum in cash games. Even in cash. Yeah.
You have 6,800 remaining. Who are you prioritizing? Keegan Murray or John Collins?
In cash, it's definitely John Collins.
In tournaments, what do you think, Chief? Collins or Keegan Murray?
Collins.
Center position, you can play Lyles here. I personally would not want to go Alex Len in cash, even though he's projecting pretty well. What do you think, Tim?
I don't want to play him in cash games now that we have Zach Collins. Like I've completely forgotten about Alex Len. So it's Zach Collins 100% in cash games.
Absolutely. I'm going there as well. All right. We got about 3.5 minutes to lock. Get your questions in. And if you have any specific, let us know on DraftKings, on FanDuel. And if you're watching us on YouTube, smash that like button. Will, I know you like Clarkson today. Who do you like better in a FanDuel GPP, Jordan Clarkson or Peyton Pritchard?
Going to take the discount with Pritchard.
All right. QQ, did you address why Pritchard is at the bottom of the RotoGrinders Celtics lineup on the lineup page? No, I did not. Probably he just got moved to the bottom quick because he was projected to be in the starting lineup. So when they just bumped him out quickly, it probably switched him to the bottom, but nothing to worry about there. It doesn't say the format cash or tournaments, but in cash, you have to play De'Aaron Fox. So assuming this is a tournament, Brandon Ingram or De'Aaron Fox in a DK GPP, Will?
De'Aaron Fox.
All right. That is it for the questions we have right now. We've been answering them throughout the show as well in the chat. So if you have any more last minute ones, make sure you get them in. DK 3-entry max, Tim. Do you like Castle more than Champagny?
It's so close between those two. I guess I'm currently rostering Champagny, so it's super close. I might swap off of that.
All right. Shout out to 901 Kill Bill. He says every time TJ says QQ, I think of the Midnight Boys, which is a Ringer podcast, when they say pew pew. I'm a big fan of that podcast as well. Actually, I've had Jomi and Steve, Jomi and Charles on the Agents of Fandom podcast as well. So love those guys. They are awesome. 1.5 minutes left to lock here. Make sure you get your lineups in. Make sure you smash that like button for us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any shows, because early tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 a.m. Pacific, we got the Grinders Live crew, the People Show, Tim, Bobby, and Dean. So Tim will be up nice and early, bringing the energy for some football. And then right after that, we got Eric and Neil Orfield for the GPP Final Take show. And then crunch time, bringing it down, bringing you right up to lock will be myself, will be Chief, will be Christy Metzer, aka Creighton. So we got a lot of fun and a lot of great content coming up tomorrow for NFL. So make sure you stay tuned, and you can catch it if you hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on the shows. Just coming up until lock right now, we got one more question from J3. Was Hulk able to lift the hammer of Thor in Avengers Assemble #4? The secret of the Zodiac is revealed. If that is a literal trivia question, I don't know specifically, J3, but I'm going to go ahead and say no, because it doesn't matter how strong Hulk is. He is not worthy of Mjolnir, and that is all that matters. But if you did see in the new Marvel trailer for the new animated show, they got Storm, the X-Man, with Mjolnir. It's pretty exciting, so make sure you check that out. I talk about that stuff at Agents Fandom. Here we talk about basketball and football. There is no more questions, so hopefully we can help you. We helped you make some money tonight. Smash the like button on the way out. On behalf of myself and Tim and Will, that'll do it for NBA Crunch Time, and we will see you tomorrow for some football.